Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here, thank you for joining me. I'm Katie and today we're going to review and have a look at the Paul Rubens glitter, interference, metallic, whatever you want to call it, watercolour set. These were very kindly given to me as a birthday present by my old friend who's also an artist, so a big thank you to you, and you know who you are. I'd been looking at these personally for a while anyway, so I think my friend might have been picking up on my thoughts. As with all Paul Rubens products I've featured on here and purchased personally, they are absolutely gorgeous in their presentation. They come in a little travel-sized pink metallic tin, that was harder to say than I thought, and they have a removable tray where the pans are all also removable. It has a little hook underneath so it makes it portable, and it also has two shelves in it, shall we say, for the palette. And let's not forget the gorgeous little box it came in, as well as the little cloth that also came with it. There are 12 sumptuous metallic and interference colours to go at, and we have a pearl white, deep interference yellow, deep interference orange, royal gold, flare red, wine red, rose red, symphony purple, deep interference blue, shiny blue, although it is labelled as black on the swatch sheet, it does say it's blue on the thing, and it clearly is blue. And we have fruit green and flash purple. Now, I really am taking a little longer swatching these out because I'm not just doing it on white paper, they also show up amazingly on black. Some of the colours on here are absolutely delicious. I don't recommend eating them though. For example, that rose red and that symphony purple is just gorgeous, and as well the blue that I'm laying down is amazing. However, some of the other colours where they are a little paler have these gorgeous, larger, sparkly mica fragments in there, and I guess that's where the interference comes from. To be honest, I'm not entirely sure what the difference between metallic and interference is. I mean, is metallic in a traditional sense if it's either a grey metal or a gold metal, or does it apply to coloured metals? I'd love to hear what you think in the comments. Please help me out. Now, here's where they really stand out. The paper I'm using here is the Van Gogh black watercolour paper, and I've had that in for quite a while. I bought it with another set of metallic paints, and if you want me to do a review on them, please let me know. As you can see, they stand out amazingly against that black backdrop. I mean, just look at that pearl white in that left-hand corner. And even though we've got three yellow-based colours with the interference yellow, interference orange and royal gold, they all have something different to offer, which is why I really like them. Some of the colours on here show up a little bit more silvery than they do on the white paper, but again though, there's still a hint of their base colour in there. For example, the flare red and flash purple and shiny blue do tend to have that more of a silver overtone to it, but it still looks pretty gorgeous. And when we come on to the stronger colours, it's a bit of a weird way of saying it, but they are stronger on the black paper. I mean, look at these first three on the top there. They just jump out on that paper. It's just gorgeous, and I love how the particles have obviously been milled finely enough for them to bloom like they would with a granulating watercolour. I really like the Van Gogh watercolour paper that I'm using for this. However, it has got a very lined texture about it rather than it being like a cold pressed surface, which I think I might actually go and purchase some other black watercolour paper to work with in the future with these, because when it comes to doing a wet and wet technique, those lines just seem a little bit too uniform, and it takes away the spontaneity of the watercolours when using them in that style. Does that make sense? I also wanted to add a shot of mixing these up into a palette, and you can see which ones have got a lot of dye in them and rely on the dye more, and which ones have more pigmented particles and rely on the particles more, because after a little while, once those colours have settled into the little wells of water, the dye will obviously tint the water and the particles will sink at the bottom, so you can kind of get an idea of what's made out of what here. Now let's paint with them, shall we? I wanted to have a bit of a mess about with these. It's not very often I do a pure metallic painting. I usually use it to add as an embellishment, maybe a little flash of detail here and there, just something to catch the eye and make it follow across a direction I want it to follow. So it's not very often I do full-on metallic. And instantly I thought with those three colours, the rose red, symphony purple and the deep interference blue, I was thinking cosmic, and there needed to be a galaxy cosmic background for this. I used the wet and wet technique and it is gorgeous, although you can see that those lines of the paper do take something away from it, so I am going to research into getting another pad of black paper, I think, and I am running short on this anyway. The figure in the middle is quite obviously a rabbit or a hare, I shall let you decide, and I wanted to go in there with more of a detailed, concentrated use of these paints. I thought it would be a really nice way to add some texture, and again it's something that gets the eye to follow around the page and look and take in the whole image. Unlike when using regular watercolours, I'd normally add a base colour underneath, just a wash of colour. However, I didn't want it to look quite as busy, and I think having a wash of metallic underneath, I think that detail would have been lost, so I decided to just go straight in there with the paint. I wanted every single hair on this hair. Did you see what I did there? Oh gosh, I even rhymed it as well. But anyway, yes, I wanted every single hair on this bunny to stand out. And whilst I was doing it, I was getting these, do you remember those scraper foil sheets you'd get as a kid? They'd be like a design of a fox or something on there, and you'd get a little tool and you'd scrape away at the black surface and you'd have the copper surface. It was a copper foil art kit. Well, that's what I was getting vibes on with this, and I guess it was mostly down to the colours that I was using. And rather than scraping away at the surface, I'm actually adding to it. There's something quite ironic about that. I think if I was going to use a wash of colour as a base, I probably would use it on white paper, but again though, in certain lights, it's just going to take away all those tiny little details on there. They're all going to reflect at the same rate, so there's just no point making it too busy and losing all the hard work that you've put in there designing your image. Now, as I mentioned earlier in the video, these are not the only metallic paints that I've got, and I'm sure you've seen them in other videos I've featured on my channel. If you would like me to do a comparison of the ones I already have in, please let me know in the comments and I can organise that. And as well, if you want me to go a little bit more in depth with each set I've got and do a painting like I am now, let me know as well, and that might help you if you want to buy some metallic paint, and it might help you with your decision. I kind of like all of the different sets that I've got because they all add something different to a piece. I don't just randomly pick a set of metallics and think, yeah, that'll do, that'll be alright. I know how each one will behave, I know how the particles are going to be in each one, which is why we always swatch things out, and I can make a decision as to whether it'll be right for the piece or not. I decided to add a moon-shaped crest on the rabbit because there's just something about rabbits and moons, isn't there? And I also decided to slightly outline this with that pearl white paint, again just to make it stand out, although I think it kind of stood out anyway. It really just adds a bit of a luminescence about it, which I guess when you're using these beautiful shiny paints, luminance is what it's all about. I think the green stands out amazingly on here. However, I seem to have given the rabbits quite a angry expression. I don't know if that was intentional or not. Maybe it's an intense expression. I wish I'd perhaps used a finer brush for the whiskers, but it's not the end of the world. I really like how this came out. I want to say a massive thank you to my friend for getting me a beautiful birthday present. Thank you, and I hope you enjoyed watching this. And to all of you beautiful viewers out there, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you found this video useful and enjoyable. If you have, let me know in the comments, and don't forget to hit that like button, and of course, if you're new and haven't already, please subscribe. I'll see you on the next one. Bye!